What is up, guys? Today we are talking about Future State Superman Worlds of War #1. So let's get into it. What's up, guys? BJ Kicks here. I buy comics, I read them, and I review them, all for your viewing pleasure. So if you're new here, welcome. And if you're not, welcome back. Make sure you hit that subscribe button before you go so that you don't miss out on my other unboxings, reviews, and everything in between. By the way, I'm over here in the I'm over here in the corner. I'm trying something new for these comic book reviews. I just wanted to kind of, step up the production value a little bit, because I'm working on this old webcam. But also, I just wanted to have a better experience for you guys. So let me know what you think of the new setup in the comments below. But anyway, today we are talking about Superman Worlds of War. Now, this was the one Superman title from Future State that I'm actually subscribed to, that I put on my pull list way ahead of time. So this is written by Phillip Kennedy Johnson with artwork by Mikel Janin, who does great on the art, by the way. Spoiler alert. Right above my head, I actually put the B cover because that was my favorite cover to this issue. Um, but the A cover's on the screen as well. So I went ahead and purchased this digitally just so that I can show it to you a little bit. I am going to keep this review spoiler free, but I'll say this. There's not really much to spoil in this issue. This issue seems to be a lot of setup and kind of retrospective on who Superman is before we get introduced to where Superman is now. So I could probably read this entire issue to you and you not feel cheated, but I'm not gonna do that. So we're gonna go ahead and get into the issue, but like I said, some what is that word? Housekeeping, groundwork, right? This book is an anthology book. It's got a cover price of $7.99, unless you get one of these cardstock variants, then it's $8.99. I've got mine here in front of me. But yeah, so cover price $7.99. There are a lot of stories in here. Just thumbing through. Obviously, the first story in the book is the Superman Worlds of War story, and that's the main event. I don't like calling these backup stories because the reality is these are anthology books. I mean, look how thick that is. Like that's this one, and then I'm gonna compare that to something else that came out this week. It's just a regular size issue. As soon as I get to one, I got a lot of Future State, so a lot of these Future State books are bigger. All right, so this is Deceased Dead Planet, also out today, and boom. So that's how thick Deceased is compared to compared to the Future State. So if I take the Future State off of this, that's the Future State. That's Deceased. That was so weird to do, but anyway. So it's a huge issue. There's a lot of stories in here. And let's see, there's no table of contents. So the first story is this um, Superman Worlds of War. And like I said, that one's written by Phillip Kennedy Johnson with art by Mikel Janin. And then the next story we get is a Mr. Miracle story. And that one, of course, there's no splash page to tell you who wrote it. Oh, yeah. That one is called Time and Effect and is written by Brandon Easton with art by Valentine DeLandro. So that's the Mr. Miracle story. Then we get a Midnighter story by Becky Cloonan and Michael Conrad. And I think there's one more in here too. So let's see. Yeah, and then there's one more. There's a Black Racer story by Jeremy Adams with art by Siam So there's 4 stories in this book, and we're only going to cover the first one. But yeah, I guess depending on how you feel about backup stories and all that being in your books, it's either worth the cover price or it's not. Because I mean, $8 is a lot for a comic book. And if you only came to see, the title fight, that you don't care about the undercards and you'd rather just have better ticket prices. But anyway, so that's that. But let's go ahead and get into some of this story. So of course, you can't have a Future State book without Future State ads before you get to the book, right? And here we go. So I'm going to kind of do this panel by panel because I like the way this opens. So we open our story in Smallville, home of the Fighting Crows. Obviously, this is where Clark Kent is from. Super cool, right? And then you look to see that it's been made a tourist attraction. Krypton, home of Superman, right? Now, I'm actually from North Carolina, and if you ever travel south, there's a place called South of the Border in South Carolina. Um, just a super tourist spot, and then, like when you get there, it's basically like a flea market. This reminds me a lot of that in the sense that you got all these signs, all these billboards for South of the Border, and then you get there, and it's just like, what? But anyway, so as you can see, we're traveling into Smallville or Krypton, right? And we've got a bus that's arriving. Super cool. Again, I love this artwork. So the bus is stopping, and here's someone's getting off the bus. So they're clearly visiting Smallville from somewhere else. And here we go. Just a little intro to Future State, which all the books has them. So this story is called The Many Lives of Clark Kent. And again, written by Phillip Kennedy Johnson, artwork by Mikel Janin, colors by Jordi Belair. And this just looks pretty good. It looks good. Um, so anyway, as you see, our main character, I guess, is kind of walking into Metropolis, and there's a lot going on. It's like a little street fair looking thing. And they're like, "Hey, are you here to worship at the alien altar?" And it's like, "Wait, what? I'm sorry." And here you go. So she's being pestered by people trying to buy stuff, necklaces made from the stones found in the rocket field where Superman was discovered. Um, and here we got this kind of what seems like a religious zealot. It's like this town flies in the face of every principle this nation was founded on, blah, blah, blah. And then we've got someone else reading about some chemistry, it seems like. All right, so you got this person, Greg Newells, prophet of the Church of Krypton, or Greg Niles, excuse me. And he's literally standing on a soapbox reading chemistry notes of Clark Kent. Right? And here we go. The words of Kal-El, hear him. Crazy. I was like, yo, what the heck is going on? These people are like worshiping Superman. Um, and so even you got the guy like, why did this man's class, why did he choose this topic out of all the topics? It's like, that is wild. So anyway, you got this guy trying to indoctrinate this kid into the teachings of Kal-El, um, and Superman. And meanwhile, this lady's just walking in. You see, we get this panel and they're like, Superman, come back. And so, excuse me. And so you see her kind of just wandering through Smallville, and you can see there are all these different things, these monuments set up to Superman. So we got this monument here. We've got somebody, you know, mowed come back out into a cornfield. We got people leaving little notes in memorial. And so here we go. As she's entering this ceremony, and what we find is that this is like an annual ceremony that they do to celebrate Superman and to tell their stories about him, how he saved their lives, where people think he is. So the setup to this story is Superman is gone. We don't know where Superman went or why, but he's gone. And so what we get are people telling their stories about how Superman saved them, and just what he meant to them. And again, you've got this great artwork by Mikel Janin. I saw Mikel Janin's work first at the tail end of Tom King's Batman run, and so I enjoyed it. But this is cool too. I think this is even better in some ways. But yeah. Now, what we do here in this story, something that I was kind of like not disappointed, but like, dang, um, this definitely does tie in to the other Future State Superman books, specifically Future State Superman of Metropolis, which was the story that follows John Kent. Now, I didn't pick that one up a few weeks ago because it was sold out at my shop, and you don't necessarily need to read it to read this story, but it's clearly going to be helpful to know what in the world John Kent did to Metropolis because they reference it a few times here. Um, and basically, what's going on is you've got people telling all these stories about Superman, how he saved them, and people are like, "Yo, I think Superman's dead." Other people are like, "Oh, I think he's in the sky. He's watching over us." Who knows, right? But someone makes the point. Look, I think Superman's dead because whatever John Kent did, Superman would have stopped if he was anywhere nearby, right? And they even go as far as to say, I think John Kent is like just the beginning, and we're about to be taken over by Krypton or by Kryptonians, right? Something's going on, and there's not going to be any Superman here to stop it. And there we go. So now our main character, Sadie, is like not having it. She's so upset. She's like, yo, why would you think he's dead? And also, why are you thinking that he's got something sinister going on? He's only been trying to give us hope for all this time, right? And they're like, well, if he's not dead, then where is he? And she's like, he's everywhere. And I won't, I'm going to try to just kind of skip through some of this stuff. But basically, Sadie, our main character, is kind of narrating what we all should think of Superman. Now, the reason I wanted to get this book, even though I'm not a big Superman fan, is like I said in a previous video, I read Superman Birthright and I really enjoyed it. And what I took away from that book is that Superman is a symbol of hope. Superman is here to give us a sense of courage and bravery and to inspire us to be better versions of ourselves. And so, with that credo, with that mantra, right, I'm like, okay, I'm all the way down for a Superman story if that's what it, that if that's the purpose that it serves. I've been reading Superman for the last year. Started picking it up with issue 19, where he reveals his secret identity. The biggest issue I had with it was that it was boring and it didn't capture me. It didn't inspire me. It didn't make me feel like, oh man, I want to do that. It was a lot of Superman kind of dealing with existential dread and crisis and like not knowing how to deal with himself while also fighting off random threats. Like so it was weird. I did like the action in the Mongol story arc. Um but then there was like the whole thing with him and Dr. Fate. Anyway, this isn't a review of that. My point is what I was reading in the Bendis Superman run just was kind of okay. Like it didn't hurt me, right? But it didn't help anything either. Other people were upset because of his treatment of John Kent and Lois. All that happened before I started reading, so I can't speak to any of that. But in this book, which is kind of Phillip Kennedy Johnson's first real statement on the character, we get Sadie, who is basically speaking for all of us who know and remember Superman from our youth. I say us as if it's me, but for everyone who grew up loving Superman, she's the one saying, look, Superman is Superman because he inspires us all. Superman is Superman because he stands for something. He stands for truth and justice. It's not about his powers. It's about, everything else that he's got going on for him and how he inspires us. And honestly, I think I may have said too much. So I'm gonna go back to the first page here and I'll give you my final thoughts on the story. So now we get this big, statement from Sadie. We get the whole this is what Superman represents. And then finally we do get what's going on with Superman in the present day. That takes up a lot less of the issue than anything else. But like I said, we get some of this stuff here on World War World, and I won't spoil it. But it's really not a lot to spoil. It's almost like Superman Ragnarok is what it looks like, or Superman Planet Hulk. But anyway, what did I think of the issue? I enjoyed this story. I enjoyed being someone who's newer to the Superman mythos, I enjoyed kind of having an opening salvo or an opening statement saying, "Look, this is what Superman means to me. This is what he should mean to all of us." That was good for me. I'm ready to see what the rest of it is going to look and feel like, but that's what we've got here, and I enjoyed that. Um, as far as the rest of the book, because this is, I mean, there are 4 stories in this book, and there's only one of them. The second book, starring Mr. Miracle, clearly says this takes place after Superman of Metropolis #1. So, because of that, I feel like I can't really read the backup stories without reading the other Superman Future State stuff, and honestly, it's just not that interesting to me. So, for me, this book was not worth $8 or 9 in my case since I bought the cardstock variant. But I enjoyed the Superman Worlds of War story, and it does kind of make me want to investigate the rest of it, but not that bad. Not enough to go buy 3 other issues of a book that I wasn't planning to read. So take that for what you will. This story, if I'm just judging the one part of the anthology, I'd give it a 8, 8 out of 10, 8, 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. It was really good. Some people were a little upset by the fact that you got all this build up and all this preview and you don't get a lot of war world. But I'm like, if we got enough storyline to flesh it out, then that works for me. Let's see if there's a future state checklist. Because I know some of these books are only 2 issues and some of them are more. I believe this one is getting the 4-issue treatment, just like the next Batman did. So if that's the case, if there's going to be 4 issues of this to flesh out the story, then I'm fine with the pacing. Now that Green Lantern book only having 2 issues, I was like, I don't know if they're going to be able to wrap all this up. But this book was good. I enjoyed it. So let me know if you read the book. Let me know if you read the Superman of Metropolis book as well, or any of these backup stories. I want to know what you thought about it in the comments below. So I hope you enjoyed this review. If not, that's cool. Make sure you buy what you like, read what you buy, and be nice to others because kindness makes the world go round. Peace.